Don't get me wrong. It's been a great honor to serve the city and the Graph as I do. The title of Judicial Champion, well, what can more anyone want in the duelist profession? To be recognized as a skilled combatant to the point where, well, diplomatic issues can be resolved by your weapon alone, it's a great responsibility. A lot of people think it's just sitting around and waiting for tournaments, but well, not here in Middenheim. A keen political eye is required. You are representing your noble lord, after all. I am expected to be at the top of my game at all times, and be aware of the comings and goings of the Midden marshals and the palace court all at once. And, well, there are times when the intrigues of court can go against you, enemies of the Graph keen to make a show of disgracing his chosen champion. It's been a good few years now, but I confess I'm ready to move on. I wish to be married to my dear Manuel and perhaps go back to my roots. I was a mere carpenter's son before all this. I've been thinking that if I'm not defeated tomorrow at the final day of the ceremonial tournament, I might try and see if I can be nobly retired anyway. It's not unheard of. Of course, in that case, I will be expected to train and vet a good replacement at the very least. But I think I've got enough goodwill with the Graph to at least ask. I suppose we shall see what the future holds. The taxes, well, we should not question our betters, should we? I tire of this talk of taxes. I think I will go and get a drink. This is Red Moon Role-Playing. Heinrich, this morning it's you who are actually woken by the door knocking. This is unusual. As we've discussed, you are a very heavy sleeper, but maybe you were still enjoying the festivities of last night. Out of interest, did you stop and maybe try and see that elephant show?
I definitely did. If no, for no other reason than I need to know if it's a euphemism or if there's an actual elephant.
It turned out there was indeed an elephant. A whole elephant. Being ridden by halflings. Which made it all seem even more fun because the halflings were quite small and the elephant, even though it wasn't as big as you'd heard, was still quite large. And they did lots of fun things like acrobatics on the elephant and tricks with the elephant, and the elephant almost went into the crowd at one point, but everyone had a good time.
I will be telling this story to the children I probably will not have by the end of this adventure. That was one of the most incredible things I've seen, and I have fought chaos sorcerers.
Indeed. Yes, your friends Siegfrieda and Kruger seem to be stirring. They're here, so clearly all of you made it back to the inn eventually. But someone's knocking on the door quite politely. What do?
Well, it's definitely, my turn to answer the door, but also I have big plans for today, so perhaps not as deep in slumber as is the norm. This scene finds Heinrich getting his equipment ready, polished up, just making sure that all the buckles and brass are in the right places, because, having not discussed this to great length with the others, but certainly with himself, there's a tournament fight that's going to happen, and yes, of course, we do have to save the Empire from Tzeentch, but before that, there's a good old fight that I could have. And after enjoying the fruits and the trappings of that kind of lifestyle last night, I find myself drawn to it once again. However, preparation is not so important that I'm willing to let this person knock on the door in perpetuity, so I will set the pistols aside, rise, and then proceed to the door.
You are greeted by a familiar face, with her green eyes, her freckles, her tightly wound blonde hair, one of the maids, or servants, or staff at this inn, Zelda. And she smiles, and she looks in, and she notices some of the weaponry, and goes, Herr Heinrich, you're off to something today?
Oh,
I just came by to say hi, to give you your breakfast. I saw you at the tournament the other day, the archery tournament, that is. You did really well.
Thank you. Third being very well, that's a matter for some debate, but today will be better. No, all of this is it's more fun and games. And thank you for breakfast again, Zelda. Much appreciated.
Of course. Today, are you going to the archery tournament again?
Oh no, the melee.
The melee? Oh, you don't mean it's the last day of the championship for the Graph's champion. You're going to get into that.
Quite.
Oh my goodness! Oh, that would be wonderful! Oh, Mr. Heinrich, you could be the Graf's champion!
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Confidence has led to the demise of a great many great men.
No, I think you could be over chance, and then, well, that's just, is that something you want to do? Because, well, that's such a, I've heard they say it's still sometimes an honorary title, but, well, you get to meet the Graf, and you get to be in his court.
Sounds amazing, doesn't it?
Yes! Oh, I wish you all the luck. Oh, and so sorry, I think someone just, there's a package for you downstairs. I brought it up, and she kind of just quickly hands you a little box. Something like a wrapped parcel. It smells very interesting of like really strongly of lavender, and maybe is that, some sort of honey smell? Very strongly smells. She says, oh, it's a very nice smelling package. Anyway, here you are, and good luck. And then she blushes a little, and she's like, if you're good, I'll see if I see you there. I might be there.
I would be happy to have you cheer me from the stands. And then who knows, if I do end up the Graf's champion, I will still need someone who's interested in bringing me breakfast.
Oh gosh, I don't know. You won't have time for an inn like this. You'll be at all those parties and in the square doing those drills.
I don't feel I can't bring myself to explain that she would be moving to the palace. Now is not the time for that. Well, we'll see what happens. This package, I don't suppose you got a chance of who saw it, who dropped it off.
Oh no, sorry. Anyway, right, have a lovely rest of your day. Enjoy the festival, and off she goes. And to knock on another door and begin serving breakfast to some other people, it seems. And you close the door, and yes, Siegfriede and Kruger, you awaken. And Heinrich is already up, polishing his weapons, and he has a package in his hands.
Oh, there was a delivery?
Smells, I suppose to taste. And I will waft this thing around the room so they can get a good scent of it.
Oh, fuck off with that. Sorry.
Yeah.
It smells lovely.
No idea who it's from. No idea what's in it.
Might it be dangerous?
I think between the three of us, Siegfriede is the one who's best suited for sniffing out poisons, although perhaps not this morning.
I think right now every scent is a poison. Bring it over here.
Happy to do so.
I don't suppose one of you could take Erica out for a sec if I'm looking at this.
Oh, I'd love to. I, anyways, want to see if I can find my friend. He didn't show up yesterday. I'll take Erica out.
Then you quickly take Erica, who seems quite happy. She does, though, sniff the air a little, and she seems quite interested in that package for a second, but then she sees you taking her out, and she comes to be taken out, and you leave the room, Kruger, with Erica to have a little walk. Siegfriede, what do you do with this package? It's very nicely wrapped, and it does smell. Oh, these are very nice smells.
Who delivered this, Heinrich?
They didn't say. Zelda said it was dropped off this morning, and when I asked, do you know who gave it, who delivered it, they made the same face they always do.
Well, okay, I put it on my bed. I start to gently unwrap it.
You do so. It seems to be wrapped in an initial layer, and then under that there's another layer, and in that layer there's lavender and daffodils and lots of flowers, but that's still not the actual box. It's a box of some kind, so you're going to have to keep going, but in that layer you suddenly see there is a note.
Oh, good. I brush some of the flowers away, and I look up at Heinrich. You know, if I was feeling suspicious this morning, I would say that those flowers were in here to conceal something else. Maybe a rotten odour, I suppose we'll find out in a minute. What does the note say?
The note reads thus. Well, it certainly does seem as if you've shown your true colours. Herr, not Lieberung. For what it's worth, I'm starting to think you truly are just three random pests, and you are being truthful with who you say you are. Unfortunately, it does seem as if your intentions, though, go against being innocent bystanders. Such a shame the High Chancellor had such a interesting evening at the Royal College of Music. Still, lucky you. I'm a professional, and certain individuals still think dealing with you now would be more trouble than it's worth. I disagree, but I am a professional. So, here's a final warning. there will be worse consequences on the way if you continue to be little pests. Yours sincerely. And there's no name.
Well, I have read that out. Well, it seems we cannot escape the mark of Castelibron, can we?
No. I honestly, more polite than I was expecting, considering our, defiance.
Oh, usually that politeness belies a threat, my friend.
One thing seems evident, though. It does say in this note that this person, whoever they are, believes that you're not Herr Lieberung, so that's progress.
Yes, that's another cultist on our side. The last one was killed. Let's see if there's anything deeper in this package, or if it's just rolled up ball of flowers.
You begin to unveil the second layer, and then it hits you, Siegfrieda. A quite strong odour that suddenly overpowers the flowers and lavender. Although there's still a lot of that, there's something very unpleasant smelling inside this little box. But you can't quite see what it is yet because it's covered in lavender flowers and herbs and all sorts of other strong-smelling goods.
Does it smell of rotten meat or shit?
Rotten meat.
I can deal with rotten meat, having worked in a surgery. I've done my fair share of gangrenous limb amputations. To be honest, right now, that would probably turn my stomach less than freshly baked goods.
You might be able to. I cannot. Heinrich is going to get the first whiff of that and then take several dramatic steps back.
Indeed, it's suddenly starting to flood the room. A strong smell of death.
Let's make sure all of this stays on the bed. I don't want Erica eating any of it. We'd better see whose head it is. It's going to be a head, isn't it? I say, and I brush the flowers away.
And there is certainly the shape of a head, but as you turn the box a little, hard to identify, because there is no face. It has been nice and neatly cut off, nose included.
Well, I say, I'll step up, and now standing up, whoop, the stomach rises. Ah, there it is. Oh no, I shouldn't have breathed in then. Well, that's our second faceless victim. Seems the purple hand in these parts are a little more, well, they're not just all about crossbows and daggers.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Is it a high-quality flensing job? Or does it look like it's been butchered?
Let's roll law anatomy.
I get 42 out of 66.
How do you begin your examination? Do you put some gloves on and take the head out? Do you just try and do as best you can, just kind of poking at the head in the box?
Oh, there's no need to put gloves on. I've handled worse. I'll wash my hands afterwards, though. I'm not uncouth. So I'll reach in, pull the head out.
Well, you begin to have a look. Bar the head, which obviously has been cut off. Let's see, not a bad cut, a little bit of a hack, possibly with a bladed weapon, you'd think to yourself. A couple of hacks probably took this head off. Youngish ears, skin, maybe this was a young person, maybe in their 20s, 30s. Large stock of red hair, cut short. And, well, the eyes seem to have... Well, the eyelids clearly are no longer there, so, okay, they're starting to rot a little. Blue, maybe they were. The decomposition level is very fresh. This must have been done maybe a day ago at most, or maybe even 5 or 6 hours ago.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, in that case, the smell, it should be pretty fresh and bloody.
Yes.
Okay, so this is like being in a butcher's window.
As you investigate the cuts on the face itself, not bad, but a little clumsy in your point of view. You think a scalpel could have been used, but also a dagger. And, again, it seems a little rough. But, at the same time, there was persistence here. As you said, taking a whole face off, and the nose, does require a bit of a steady hand. So it's not a masterwork. It's not bad either. Not a bad piece of work.
We were made aware that Kruger hadn't found their friend last night, right?
He did say something as he was about to head out of, like, he couldn't find his friend last night. And funnily enough, just as you're saying that, In he comes, having just finished the walk. Kruger, you come into a room with Erica. She starts barking a little and quickly comes to Siegfried's side and starts barking.
I drop the head back in the box. I stand in front of the box.
What do you do, Kruger?
Oh. What was that?
Don't know that it is his friend, but I have a feeling. I look at you, I look at Heinrich. There's a bit of a pleading in my eyes. How do we handle this? Let's get away from that, Erica. That's not food.
Erica does a little whine at you, but does sit, but she keeps, barking a few more times at the box and then just sort of sits. She was clearly very interested in it.
We've been sent a message right from the Purple Hand, another threat to stay away. Good news. There's good news. Another one of them seems to think that you're not Castelliberung, so we're converting them one cultist at a time.
Oh, it'll take a while, but we'll get there.
Well, if the rest of them die, then we should be all right. There is, however, bad news to go with the good news.
Oh, you don't say. Is that what was in the package then? I gather the smell is...
We haven't been delivered some fresh cuts of meat to grill up for the morning, no.
It was a message, then I take it. That kind of message. And I have a sinking feeling here, of course, because this cannot just be a coincidence. It could, but then again, if they've been keeping track of what I've been doing, they would have seen that I have met with Bjorn, and he didn't show up, and that was very strange.
Why don't you take a seat on your bed? I need to ask you a question, quickly, Kruger. I look over at Heinrich. You always lose the use of your tongue in situations like this. You're all too happy to be bold as brass in the event of a competition, but when it comes to breaking bad news or discussing matters of anatomy, nope, nothing. Nothing from you, Heinrich. I shake my head.
We all have different skill sets. And I'm just making a grimacing kind of half smile towards Kruger.
I'll sit down just as I'm asked.
Did you know you were going to meet your friend last night?
Yeah, I was gonna meet with Bjorn.
Does he have thick red hair?
That would be him.
As he says that as well, Siegfried, you have a recollection. Redhead. Wasn't there a red-headed young man who looked after Erica when you went to that awful place in that Oswald district? He was quite clearly very keen to talk to you. Yes, same sort of ears as well, now you think about it.
Damn rum state of affairs when you have to identify a man by his ears. I shake my head. I don't think you need to look at what's in the box, but I think we ought both accept, Kruger. The Purple Hand got to your friend, and I'm sorry. We'll find somewhere appropriate to put his remains.
Oh, I'm genuinely not sure how to take that. He was just here yesterday. We were talking, and we were gonna go out drinking, and dead. You say?
I don't. Yes, I can categorically state that if it is him, and I think that it is, he is dead.
Oh.
I am sorry.
I'll get up. I don't want to show any emotion here. It's I'm trying to keep up a tough facade after all. I'll just go stretch my legs a little bit. I'll be right back.
As you're about to leave, Kruger, a question suddenly burns in your mind. You maybe don't want to know the answer, but there's something. Obviously there's not much of your friend in a box that size, but you wonder what the state of their face is.
Before I go, did they take his face?
I don't need to answer, you can see from my expression.
They did, didn't they? Just like the rest of the gang. Just me left then. Oh. And I leave the room, needing to just be with myself for a bit.
And so Kruger leaves the room. Heinrich, you look down at your weapons. You were just polishing them, getting ready to go to a fun tournament and maybe win fame and fortune. How are you feeling?
My heart aches for Kruger, obviously. I don't know the extent that his relationship with his friend took, but obviously any loss is something to grieve. I feel a bit unsteady about, as Siegfrieda pointed out, this newly aggressive purple hand. And that's where I'll start up, looking over to Siegfrieda and from the box and then back up to Siegfrieda. This isn't, these aren't the cultists we're used to dealing with.
Or we're just getting to see their true side. Let's stuff these flowers back in. I think we shouldn't dispose of the head without Kruger. But I also don't think that he's going to want to come in here and be able to just smell Bjorn's remains. So I stuff a lot of lavender in the box with the head.
Kruger, how are you feeling? Once again, all alone. How strange it was to see him again. You'd thought they were all dead, and no, there was Bjorn, and he'd thought you were dead. And I was so looking forward to talking to you. And he was literally just there, just yesterday.
I've headed off into, I guess, a small alley or something like that close to the Templar's arms. And I sort of slump down against the wall. I'm on my knees, and I just can't believe that he's gone. That all of this is my fault, too. He survived. He wasn't supposed to have survived, but he did. He was supposed to have all of his life ahead of him. But because of me, because of Gottsdam Castor Lieberung, he's dead. It's my fault.
And what do you think of the nature of his death? It can't be a coincidence anymore. What happened to your friends? It's connected somehow. Oh, it must be, surely.
Must be. The Purple Hand involved back then as well, or someone working with the Purple Hand who was involved back then.
Again, what was it he said? Gunther, it was just a job for some woman. And then he laughed and said how he'd spied on an alleyway. This woman was talking to someone, and you thought that was a very silly thing to have done. To have spied.
Yes. Who was she again?
That you do not remember, or even know now you think about it.
Perhaps she's the one. Perhaps she's one of the big movers and shakers that we'll hopefully get to meet so that we can put a stop to what they're doing.
And you suddenly find yourself hearing the sounds of people laughing and singing, and someone saying something about the time, and oh, Kruger, all three of you have to be somewhere in the Gelman district, like right now, practically.
Right. I'll have to grieve Bjorn later. I can't do anything for him now anyways. We'll just have to avenge him. That's all we can do. So I'll head back to Siegfried and Heinrich.
Kruger comes back and seems to be in a hurry. He reminds both of you that you have somewhere to be right now, quite soon, somewhere in the Gelman district. Heinrich, you forgot about that. The tournament. You think you need to be going to that now as well?
Oh, no, I didn't forget. No, they're getting ready for one thing and I'm getting ready for another. I just haven't found a good way to break the news to my friends is all.
Kruger and Siegfrieda, you both notice that Heinrich suddenly seems a little hesitant when he's told, you need to be getting to this building now for your very important interrogation.
You're coming with us, right?
Yes, come on.
I'm. That's something you all can handle, right? I mean, I'm not really one for the politics of it all.
No, but what if we get, jumped and people try to kill us?
Yeah, what if a head explodes into a pile of snakes or something? You've seen what these kinds of people are bizarre.
Yeah, but also, it's very childish, to be honest, the way that he has been caught and is incapable of coming up with a lie or even addressing the core facts ahead of you. But it's plainly obvious for the two of you, having seen him get into the mode before the fight in Bogenhaven, that this is a tournament layout, that there's no hiding what he is doing. He is just not a good enough person to tell you out loud.
Ah, you're gonna try and become the Graf's champion, is that it?
I mean, it's what it's all about, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. We've had a great fun adventure, but like back at the coach, that life that I was looking for, yes, it's great to topple castles and to fight sorcerers, but it's also quite bad for you. And now I have an opportunity to go and to do the thing that I was supposed to do and what I trained for. And look, you can't tell me you're happy about this part.
No, but I don't have a choice. I'm Caster Lieberung. I can't escape that.
What do you mean? We all have a choice. That's the letters have all been about that, right? Siegfrieda, you had a choice to just be a doctor literally anywhere. You didn't have to be Marguerite von Wittgenstein. And Kruger, you could be a thief anywhere. That's what they want. They want you to stop Caster Lieberung and move on. We don't have to do this.
I'm not sitting in judgment of you. If this is what you want to do, I mean, I'm going to end up, because of the deal we made, I'm going to have to be a doctor in Middenheim for the next year, unless I can somehow work my way out of that. I just don't know. If is this what you want? I mean, what does? This is the first we've really heard of it, to be quite honest. I know I've made a fair song and dance for the months we've been together about wanting to be a doctor. I had no idea you want to be a Graf champion.
Heinrich, as he says that, a funny memory just comes back to you. One of the last things you said to your mother. You were a different man now. You'd realised what was important in this world. And then that memory goes. What do you do?
There are lessons you learn pretty early in becoming the kind of person who's fascinated with solo combat, right? And it's most important among them is knowing when to strike, both the individual blow, but also in the big picture. You don't pick fights you can't win. And when I was speaking to my parents, it felt like a fight that I had the sword of a god in my hands. But this is bigger. I'm saying this all out loud. This is bigger than you, and it's bigger than me, and now, God, the list of names and cultists and conspiracies, it's like there's three of us. On our best days, we are a medium level of competence. People, they keep laughing at us because we bumble from one success into another, but they're not wrong.
Kruger, what do you think? You have one little thought that might affect how you feel. A really good friend of yours has just died. And he died maybe because of you, because this isn't getting sorted, whatever this is, this important thing, and, well, you don't want to maybe step on your friend's dreams, of course, but a Graf's champion, is that really important? But again, How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's gonna have to be your decision, Heinrich, at the end of the day. I mean, we've kind of become champions in a way already, you know? We're fighting chaos. We're helping save cities and the Empire, you know? That's gonna be an amazing story to tell one day, if we survive it. Certainly a lot better than being some nobleman's, you know, show-off piece at dinner parties. But if you'd rather do that, you know, feel free. You've certainly earned it. You've risked everything together with us up until now. If you want to take the easy road now, then you should do that. You've earned it.
I'm sorry. I'm sure whatever Kruger just said was beautiful and poetic and utterly convincing. But you think we're a joke? You think we're just bumbling constantly? Believe me, I have had my low points where I've wondered if I can keep going. But what, you just think we're incompetent?
I don't think we're incompetent. I think we're in over our heads.
And becoming the champion for a noble family is going to solve all your problems?
It's a question that...
You're still going to have a cult hunting you down. You're still going to be I take it back. I said it's up to you. It's not up to you. We are a team. We make these decisions together. And right now, this is probably utterly unfair to you, Heinrich, but we need you more than we need you to become the prize eunuch of a Graf family. You have seen the kinds of things that we've seen. You know that there is weirder, more dangerous, warped stuff out there, and it's impossible to go from that back to some comfortable life of being fed grapes by nubile young women.
He's saying all of this, and Heinrich has just been turning the rapier over in his hand, with one side being the unvarnished hilt and the other having the religious symbol. And it's very much just turning over the thought and the metaphor at the same time. Champion one way or another. Let me ask you, both of you, all of this, however big it gets, whatever it even is, you honestly think we can do it?
Well, no. I would imagine the prognosis is very close to failure, quite frankly, but we do have to try, don't we? Because when you look out there, are there any other people doing what we're doing?
And it's going to be a lot better if we do it together.
Kruger, time's ticking. You need to go.
Look, if we're going to make it for our interview with, our friend, then we really have to get going now. You have to make a choice, Heinrich. It isn't your choice, but at the end of the day, everything, of course, has to be your choice. Because you're the one who's going to have to live with the consequences either way.
I can't well be a champion if I let my two friends get their faces cut off.
Not that allowing a friend to get their face cut off renders someone a failure, I say, looking at Kruger.
I look down into the ground.
Fine. No, you're right, and for what it's worth, I'm sorry.
There will be other competitions. And right now, despite never really experiencing the normal childhood with normal parents or anything like that, I'm feeling very much like Kruger and I have taken on the role of parents to a jubilant and excitable Heinrich, only to say, yeah, you could get into that college. You probably could scrape in, but you'd be at the bottom of your class. Why not stick to the school that your family's always gone to. Stick to your class bracket. Stop punching above your weight. Temper your expectations. And so I feel sad for my friend. But I also know that this is the only responsible thing. We can't afford to lose him right now.
And so, it's a strange feeling for all three of you, on a way to something so important, and yet maybe none of you are truly thinking about it and thinking about other things instead. Luckily for you, it turns out this plan for once was very simple. You arrive where you were told to be. You trade a few words with the dwarf, and suddenly you're about to be taken into a doctor's office, a doctor who apparently is taking a long lunch. Just before the doors closed, Barrack says, "Right, you three. We'll be outside. Just remember, when you get proof that they are an enemy of the Empire and in league with foul powers, then the gloves can be off. But until that point, whatever else they've done, they're the High Chancellor, and that's all for the courts and the Graf himself to decide. So, if I were you, that thing you said about, well, the thing you have evidence for, the drugs, start with that before you start throwing out the chaos accusations. That's my advice. I'll be outside, though. I'll support you whatever happens."
Thank you.
"You three all right? You all seem slightly distracted."
It's been a long few days.
Oh, it's, yeah, it has.
Humans. He closes the door. What do the three of you do? It seems any moment now, someone's going to be walking in expecting a doctor's appointment. What do you think you want to do in this interview?
We happen to have a doctor.
That we do.
That's true. She's probably going to recognise me from the opera, so that's that cover blown. Oh no, I did say back then I was a doctor. So, well, I guess, do we know under what auspices she is being brought here?
According to the dwarf, who gave you a little quick briefing, a quick reminder just before you arrived, that he doesn't know, but probably could assume something to do with health, and he also would have mentioned that since the incident, the High Chancellor hasn't left their abode at the palace.
Ah, right, okay. Well, in that case, congratulations, Heinrich Kruger. You've been deputised as a nurse and an orderly.
Wait, which one am I?
Whichever you prefer, quite frankly. One of you has to move body parts around if she can't move them. The other one needs to hold her hand and say, there. Honestly, I've never really seen much of a purpose for nurses, but in all the best hospitals in the cities, they seem to have them.
At that, the door opens, and wearing a tall travelling cloak, keen to maybe hide their head, is Josephina Sparsam, the High Chancellor. She comes in, hand shaking, closes the door, turns to look at you, Siegfrieda. Where's the doctor?
I'm your new doctor. Please take a seat.
You're not my doctor.
I am a doctor.
Let me help you sit down, and I'll come and move from behind her and try to ease her to where she is supposed to sit.
You let her be eased to the chair. She sits down and she says, "Wait, you're from the College of Music?"
Me? Yes. We met at the opera.
We certainly did. What's going on here? You're not my doctor. I need to speak to my doctor.
No, like I said, I'm a doctor.
Well, I need to speak to my doctor. You don't know my history.
Unfortunately, your doctor was rushed away.
Well, I guess I'll have to come back another day.
No. I was given quite clear instructions to help you with your medicinal issue. Don't worry, I've been fully made aware of what your problem is. Nurse Heinrich, please could you watch the door to ensure that you don't need to leave the room, but just watch the door. We don't want the lady's privacy disturbed.
And I will have my hands on her shoulders to prevent her from rising up from the chair. And if she attempts to do it, I will gently push her down.
She'll try to struggle and fail, and then say, "Do you know I'm the High Chancellor? You can't do this to me."
That's why being given the best possible treatment. So please, explain to me right now where you first obtained these drugs.
Who are you? You can't... What do you want? More of you? Oh, no. No, nonsense! Silence! Just be honest! I don't have time for this! And her hands start shaking.
If you insist on shouting, we will have to insist on medicating you.
Fine, what do you want? Just, okay, what do you want? Foul fiends!
Well, I had hoped we would do this more calmly, my lady, High Chancellor. How would you prefer that I referred to you?
The High Chancellor! Please. Just find out with it. What do you want now?
We want to help you.
Oh, shut up, you sycophant! What do you want? No, help me, of course you do. What is it now? A tax reform in your favour? Or another document signed incorrectly? Just out with it!
But sometimes we find ourselves in situations where we're a little bit in over our heads, don't we? Is that where you are right now?
Yes! Of course. What do you want? What do you want? And again, her hand just starts shaking and just like, oh, my bloody hand. You bastards.
I think you've been in over your head for quite some time, haven't you, High Chancellor?
Who are you? Who are you?
Please, you can stop asking the questions. Allow us to ask you the questions. We're looking out for your benefit, and we will make you better, and get rid of the things that are troubling you. Because, believe it or not, I am a doctor. No, I do have a certificate to prove it, if that provides any reassurance to you, but right now I don't think paperwork's what you want to see. You want a friendly voice, and all three of us here, believe it or not, want to be your friend.
Be my friend, is it? I understand. Yes. I didn't think my life would end today.
Oh, we are here to look after you.
Yes, I understand. Look after. What are you going to do? Make me drink something? Or force me to take something?
No, we're just asking you some questions, High Chancellor, please. No, and this can be very quick. We could be done in about 3 minutes.
What are your questions, madam?
Firstly, who's been supplying you with the drugs? The ones that you have become so addicted to.
She sighs. Again, her left hand shaking. She seems, you think secretly this, actually, for her age, looked like quite a hale woman once, but no, not that. Not with that shake of the hands. Her health is clearly deteriorating. I didn't know what she said it helped with the nerves. It's been so much work lately. Don't suppose you care.
No, I do. It sounds like signing false documents and applying arbitrary taxes is a lot of work. Believe me, I understand that. But you said she. Who is she?
Very well, yes. It is a woman. Some calls herself Frau Kiener. She operates from somewhere in the Alt Quarter. I believe she's the one I met, and she gave me the sample, and yes, it's not something for the nerves. It's something else, isn't it? And I feel so unwell.
Now, Frau Kiener, we do have that name. I got it noted, but I don't have anything else attached. So we've heard the name before.
Correct.
Yes. We did know that she was the drug dealer. But not more than that, though, and we certainly want to know more about what exactly is it that she's been asked to do, and has there been some reason stated as to why. So...
Yes, all you have is a name, but apparently she knows who that is.
Would you be able to point her location on a map? Or direct us from this location?
I believe it's somewhere in the Old Quarter, somewhere called the... give me a moment! Somewhere called the Pit? That's what I said, my servant. I think it's an establishment of ill repute.
It sounds like it.
Yes. And...
Sounds like a real hole.
Well, I don't know. I haven't been.
I give you a smile.
And, well, there you go. And, yes, and that's where I need to get the substance, which I no longer have.
And it's your servant Hans who goes to fetch it for you, I assume?
Yes, and he's been acting funnily as well recently. Caught him in my office the other day. But, well, looking for something, he said.
Okay, well, all of this makes perfect sense, and it does, based on what Heinrich and Kruger looked into when you seized her servant the other night. So, good, we've actually got something verified. I nod. So, these things you've been asked to do. Were you asked by this Frau Kina to do things like impose this tax and sign these forged documents? Was this at her command?
Well, wait, hang on. And no forged documents, and it's not me. But, no, I confess. I have been withholding information that should really have been reported to the Graf. I confess.
Well, go ahead with your confession.
The profits the tax will make are negligible at best. Yes, there will be a brief moment, perhaps, where, especially from the Dwarven Guilds, where there would be an increase, but of course then there will be a loss of business from the Dwarven Guilds, and the fact is the Templars as well will not pay as much as they're expected, and the wizards, and in short, the income won't be short-term. In long term, it is actually very unwise, and I have not given that in my last report. I confess, I have let down my station, my honor, and have been negligent, and they said, yes, if I did report my findings, that the medicine would no longer be available.
They, now?
Yes, this woman.
It's this Frau Kina again, then?
Well, yes, and whoever she works for, I assume.
And do you have any indication as to who that is?
No. Someone who wants to make a quick bit of money, I suppose. I wasn't sure if the commissioner was in on it, but I don't know. They're quite a funny young lady, but they don't really actually seem to have any business acumen. But, well, that's sometimes not needed, is it, with your merchant skills? But yes, there you have it. You're not... You're working for the Graf, aren't you? This is my arrest, isn't it?
No. Rest assured, we are not working for the Graf, and I'm comfortable confirming that, but we are working for someone, and that someone does appreciate your honesty.
It feels good to tell the truth, doesn't it?
She looks a little confused, and nods, and then coughs a little, breathes heavily. Oh, God. Wait, well, what now, then? You're not going to take me to court?
Well, we may need you to verify what you're saying, because at some point the whole rotten conspiracy is going to be exposed at one cost or another. But in terms of the medicine that you need, I should be able to help treat that, because, again, just to emphasize, I am a doctor. And I may be able to come up with some suitable alternatives to the drug you've been hooked onto.
I don't suppose it really matters, in a way. My career's over regardless. What happened at the Royal College? My mind's so far gone I didn't realise I had tattered clothing on, and clearly it's affected me worse than I ever could have imagined.
Yes, well, anyway. Do I look to Heinrich and Kruger?
Well, now that you're, telling the truth and everything comes out, is there something else that you would like to share?
But what do you mean? This is already that's the end of my career. It's quite important to me, if you haven't guessed.
Well, I mean, the more truthful you are, I'm sure if this comes to court one day, that your corporation will be valued. Right?
Yes. Yes, no, I could have resisted, I could have said no, but the effect this thing has on me. 35 years of good service. It was only because there was so much work to be done. She said it would help with the nerves, and it was a respectable place where this woman got into somehow. I don't know.
Well, I'm sure that will be a circumstance that will be considered.
May it be, and pardon, as a nurse is never supposed to speak over their doctor, May it be the case that we can avoid any kind of legal issue if our friend here is willing to provide the appropriate amount of help to us, specifically in this matter?
Well, of course, I assume this was an official confession already. I'm really confused who you people are, but I will, of course, confess and also, of course, step down from my position as soon as it's viable.
That's all above, a bit above my particular interest. What I mean is, might we, looking to Siegfrieda and Kruger, find a way to allow our friend here to retain their station if they get us in the room with this Frau Keener and let us handle that side of things our way?
I mean, I can do my best on that. It's what day is it today? Oh, the last day of the festival. 4 days from now. That's 7 o'clock. That's when my servant normally goes there to make the the conversation.
Then perhaps you send a new servant or 3 new servants in your stead.
Certainly, I can do that if that's what you want. Yes.
They wouldn't see it coming.
And I think in terms of your career prospects, if you care about these things in the future, being the person partly responsible for taking down this wicked organisation probably would stand you in good stead with the rest of the city, and understandable why you couldn't share this information. Rather than looking like a dupe, you would come out shining like a champion, I say, looking over at Heinrich.
The woman looks like she's going to take this in, and then there's a knock at the door, and the dwarf walks in and says calmly, "Sorry, lads, that won't be an option. This is, sadly, treason. And you understand that, don't you, High Chancellor?" "Yes, I do. However, the Graf might be willing to be merciful. Like, if you do indeed do as my friends say. Good plan, you three, but no. The High Chancellor of Middenheim doesn't do this. This is very serious."
I shrug. Well, mercy clearly not a virtue in this kingdom.
I didn't say that, Siegfried. I just said the Graf might be merciful, considering it. Once again, answer their question, High Chancellor. Is that everything? Well, yes. No, honestly, it really is. I don't really get what you're getting at. I mean, I'm surprised you need more. It's a serious, truthful allegation. Any final questions for the High Chancellor, you three? Again, I will handle... Don't worry, High Chancellor. You don't need to be making your retirement just yet. Let's wait till the end of the festival for that. The woman nods.
Well, I think we have what we need. And I look at the High Chancellor, and I'm sad in some ways, about the fate that has befallen her. She didn't choose to get addicted to that drug. It was done to her. And, well, yeah, she could have looked into things a little bit more carefully before, but she's been used, like so many others, and it's sad. It's just sad.
Before you go anywhere, High Chancellor, I'm going to head over to the shelves of this doctor's surgery. I have decent medicinal lore. I might be able to quickly whip up a concoction or provide some herbs and treatments that she can use as a replacement, as I'm calling over my shoulder. Now, whatever I'm giving you, you're probably still going to feel rough. I doubt it's going to be a like-for-like replacement, but it might help wean you off before you get to see your actual doctor in a couple of weeks, let's say. I suggest telling your servants you've come down with some kind of chest cold and you need to stay in bed, because honestly, you're not going to want to get out of it while coming down from that.
You're actually helping me.
I'm a doctor. How many times do I need to say that?
Well, no, I understand that, but I won't say no.
Well, we're not paying for this medicine, I say, and I'll look over at Barrack the dwarf. Shrug.
Well, of course, No, by the way, no, it wasn't... I know people have been thinking that, but how could it be me with the scheme? I do not... Yes, I am keen to save money for this city, but I do not secretly have vaults of gold in my house. But, obviously, it needs to have come from somewhere above. But like I said, after the Law Lords discuss their final verdict with the Graf, I feel the Graf will overturn it anyway. It is his final decision, after all, after his final speak with them.
Well, he's hoping law and order will prevail. Now, shall I make a roll on law medicine? Are you happy for me to identify the right treatments?
Believe you are more than familiar with possible remedies to help someone coming off the effects of such a narcotic drug. It will not be easy, of course, but it might help a little.
No, all I'm really looking for is something that's going to sedate her for a while, so that she's not aware of the agonies that her body is going to go through.
And with that, she steps to the dwarf. The dwarf nods and lets her leave, and he closes the door. Right. Good work, you three. Well done. The High Chancellor. 25 years. And her career will end with blackmail and bribery. But unfortunately, that's not something that is allowed to continue. She will not be the High Chancellor for much longer. But hopefully the Graf, I'll let him know. I believe her. I don't think she knew more than that.
Oh, perhaps she can... Well, the Graf will make whatever judgment he deems fit, I'm sure.
We certainly will. So the good news is you have your lead. What was that, 7 o'clock, 4 days, the pit. I can show you where that is, in the old quarter. Bad news for you, or mainly you, not for me, you and Lady Emmanuel. Hardly damning evidence for your little cult activity, I'm afraid. I reckon you're probably going to need a little more. That party she wants you to go to, you need to do a bit more investigating. However, you never know, we might get lucky. Maybe this, Frau Keener, that doesn't ring a bell. They might lead you to something, but I still reckon you're going to need to do what she says and go to this thing to get a little more information. But that's my thoughts. What are the three of you thinking?
Well, all roads seem to lead to this Frau Keener.
She's got a good point. This person probably isn't acting on their own, so whoever's employing them, this one blackmail here, you never know, maybe you'll get lucky tucking on the web, so to speak.
Could I ask a favour of you, Barrack?
You can ask.
What do you know of the Commissioner, Wallenstein?
Oh, the Commissioner of Trade, Taxation, and the Merchant's Head at the moment. Dodgy one if you ask me. Lots of, connections, lots of friends. But, yeah, she's definitely greasing some palms. Only been here 2-3 years and...
If you have agents in the city, it might be worth deploying some to keep her under observation. It's only a suspicion of mine right now, but she said some very strange things yesterday that I can somewhat remember.
Well, I'll try, but, we already have, and we already know she's greasing some palms somewhere, but there's no real proof. And, like I said, lots of friends. Personally, it was all down, I reckon, to the Graf's late wife. She was very fond of her before her passing.
Oh? Who was the Graf's late wife?
The Countess, the Graf's wife, died about 7 months ago. Or was it a year? Second wife, of course.
News travels slowly to places like Wittgendorf, I'm afraid.
I see. No, when that lady, not even a lady, just a merchant's daughter or something, when she arrived here, got in very close with her, and, suddenly she's a commissioner and a merchant's head. Of course, she's losing a bit of influence now the wife's gone. But alright, I'll try and put someone on her, I guess, if you think it's relevant, but I have not got that many people who work for me. Anything else? What about you, Mr. Heinrich? Good guarding the door there.
Oh, thank you. Immovable object. It's my forte. No, I'm content to shake the tree. I do think that any consequences that may be left to befell the High Chancellor should probably wait until we've had a chance to see what comes out of the tree. If charges were announced tonight, that would make our meeting with Frau Keener a bit more fraught.
I agree. No, that will all be wait till after the festival. Although a word of advice. It's possible that our friend, even if everything goes according to plan, already knows. Remember that, your little incident at the Royal College of Music was very public. Not necessarily your fault, I don't think, but that is as it is. Everybody's been gossiping about the High Chancellor went on a massive meltdown in front of the Royal College. But that's something you have to consider anyway. It's a good lead. When you say 3-4 days, that's the last day of the festival, 7 o'clock, so make sure you're there, and, we'll see how the situation develops. In the meantime, I've got to help organise your, how's your cover story coming for this party, by the way? Have you got something cooked up?
I kind of count my shoelaces at this point. Nope, we haven't discussed anything of that ilk.
No, we've been busy with other things, unfortunately, but,
Alright, well, no worries, think of it tonight. I recommend merchants from Marienburg, or, maybe your a guild associates from somewhere, and make up some place in Kislev or something like, keep a low... Your goal tomorrow, I reckon, is keep a low profile, and just ask a few questions. Don't make a big scene or anything. In my humble opinion.
Oh. So, not the College of Music, then?
No, I reckon not, no. Alright then. Then, gentlemen, it's been a good day. Sorry I've kept you so long, but good work, honestly. You might... Whatever happens, you've exposed some corruption in the high ranking of the city, and that is important, cult or not.
Yes, government should be clean, and for the people.
Well, that's how we dwarves do it. Anyway, good day, gentlemen. And you are out on the street, and it seems, well, you have a party to get ready for tomorrow, but as we close our session, but how are the three of you feeling, and what do you think you want to do next?
Well, Kruger is, of course, still distraught about everything that has happened, and especially what happened to Bjorn. That's something that's going to take some time to process. And he is also genuinely sad for the High Chancellor. It wasn't her fault, really. And it doesn't feel fair. It's not the worst thing that has befallen people who have come across our path, but it doesn't feel right.
Heinrich, what about you? You think somewhere in the city you can hear bells ringing. You wonder if maybe that's the tournament ending.
Well, I suppose no matter which path I chose, I've ended up under the heel of a Graf one way or another. If been Graf Todbringer here, it would have been Graf come Emperor. Don't know it's much of a champion who has to blindly follow the law, take the person who was taken advantage of and throw them to the legal wolves, but obviously these questions are better left to my betters. All there is to do now is to look forward and see what comes from the next layer of this conspiracy.
And finally you, Siegfrieda. Did that go how you were expecting, or not?
Well, it went better than I expected. There was no conflict. We got to help a suffering woman in a sense with her guilt as well as with her medical ailment. But on the subject of guilt, I'm feeling tremendously guilty about Heinrich and how much I feel like I strong-armed him. Well, both of us did. Kruger and I, we both ladled it on pretty damn thick of, well, it's your choice, but... And ultimately, there was no fight for him. There was no championing here. He was a glorified doorman. And looking at him, I imagine he's aware of that, especially with the sounds of those bells tolling outside. And I say to him, I think we need to find someone for you to, something chaotic for you to cut down in the name of Sigmar or Ulrich or one of those other fine gods, don't we?
Well, hopefully that's the next rung. Wasn't really here to gut the High Chancellor. Maybe we'll get lucky. For my sake, if the Frau Keener person is another chaos magician, then first of all, more quickly to satisfy my urges, and second, we'll have finally gotten to the bottom of this damn mystery.
One thing does strike the attention of all three of you, and maybe you, Secreta, more than the others, but only maybe. Lords came up again. It was said in a way that didn't sound generic either. It sounded like the Lords, implying it's some sort of title.
They need to petition the Graf with this new law, and he needs to agree to it. Which means I imagine this Frau Keener is probably going to take us to the Lords if she has been feeding this information about taxes and such to the High Chancellor, but there is an order to these things. We can't just start questioning every Lord that there is and hope for the best. We have a trail to follow now, and we shouldn't lose sight of it.
And in the meantime, as the day stretches before you, there's one other thing that you might want to do before tomorrow, and, well, get ready for this final little task. A party, a very fancy party. Your cover story, although, again, maybe you already have that sorted. But there's still some time to get ready for all that before tomorrow, when apparently you'll be going to a very, very fancy party. The Graf's garden party. You might find yourself in the audience of some of the most powerful people in the city.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the legendary campaign The Enemy Within for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, published by Cubicle 7. In this third part of the series, we are tackling Power Behind the Throne. Joining us as players in this series are none other than Aaron Hammonds from Queen's Court Games and our dear friend Matthew Dawkins. The music was made by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Wordclock, Metatron Omega, Aegersonus, Apocryphus, Halgrath, and Northumbria, featuring a number of collaborations with other artists, and was used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Antxon, and Graham Barey for their generous support. And we'd of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember that Skaven are definitely not real. Except, well, who's gonna believe you? Never mind.